Taking a look at tonight's big stories, combing for clues in the murder of a Michigan woman. Searchers finding new evidence in the last hour or so, evidence that may link Stephen Grant, her husband, to the murder of his wife. Teens teaching tots how to smoke pot, and believe it or not, some of the folks helping the little ones getting high are relatives. And is it just free speech, or did talk show host Bill Maher go too far when he said the world would be better off if the vice president were dead? The big debate on The Big Story starting right now.
The Big Story Weekend. Here's Julie Banderas.
And hello, everyone. Tonight's big story, the stare down in Selma, Alabama. Democratic candidates colliding on the campaign trail. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama in the same town at the same time for the same event. At a church service this morning, Obama thanked the city for their place in the civil rights movement. At another church in town, Hillary Clinton said she's appalled that discrepancies between races still exist in the 21st century. Steve Brown is live in Selma. And Steve, we just got video of Bill Clinton there in Selma a little while ago. Has he made other appearances with his wife since she declared?
No, absolutely not. This is the first time, and it's a significant event for the Clinton campaign. We're talking about Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton's campaign to be the next U.S. president, in that they're trying to quite apparently tap into her husband's popularity with the African-American community. And I think it's fair to say that in terms of how much he is beloved, no president enjoyed that status since Lincoln. The level of adoration that President Clinton has in the African-American community in this country.
You know, you'd almost think Bill Clinton was running against Barack Obama and not Hillary. I mean, how significant is this event for the Clinton campaign now that Bill is there?
Well, I would point out that until they had that march across the street and then the induction into the Civil Rights Hall of Fame for the former president, that it was Hillary and Hillary alone, and then she was joined by her husband for this reenactment of the Selma March. So they're trying to, if you will, kind of have it both ways. They're trying to remind folks that this is the former First Lady, this is the U.S. Senator, this is the person whose husband is Bill Clinton, but also they're trying to be very careful that Senator Clinton isn't overshadowed in some way. So probably the speaking engagements, having her there alone without her husband, was probably done on purpose so that she can enjoy the limelight of it, because if he's there, almost certainly he'd be anticipated to speak.
All right, Steve, before I let you go, I have to ask you, the tension between the Clinton and Obama camps in the last week or two obviously has been apparent to all of us watching this. Any sign of that there where you are?
There was some of it internally between the two camps in the 2 weeks leading up to this, but today they've been playing very nicely, to use a term. Both speeches by Obama and Clinton were referenced each other in a positive way, in a very positive way, as a matter of fact. And they've been, participating in separate events, which are obviously competing, but they've gone out of their way to keep above the fray in terms of the political competition. Although it is quite apparent there's one going on here in Selma today.
All right, above the fray, at least for now. Steve Brown in Selma, Alabama. Thank you so much, Steve. Well, the editorial writers will likely have a field day scoring down this showdown in Selma, but you don't have to wait for the morning paper, oh no, because here on The Big Story, with fair and balanced political analysis, we've got Republican strategist Roger Stone and Democratic strategist Bob Beckel, and thank you both for coming on.
Thank you, Joe.
Roger, when Hillary and Bill began to strategize the run for the White House, Bill had such a strong vote with the blacks when he ran for the White House, but do you think that they took into account the challenges that they might be facing, Barack Obama particularly?
Not at all. In fact, when the Clintons started to strategize this race, Barack Obama's candidacy was not on the horizon. Now suddenly you have an exciting, well-funded, nationally known African or Black American challenger who's viable. Hillary has seen her poll numbers shrink across the board, across the country. She once held a commanding lead. Now she holds a thin lead. In some places, she's even been passed by Obama. So this is a direct challenge, and it's a recognition that African Americans have been part of the Clinton base. But as Bill and Hillary are about to find, endorsements and support is not transferable. Nobody knows that better than Bob Beckel.
So you think Hillary is in trouble, Bob?
Well, I think in the black community, Roger's got it exactly right. Popularity in politics to be transferred from a candidate to another candidate is virtually impossible to do, number one. Number two, you can tell how desperate, though, the Clinton campaign is to keep their foot in with the black community, because Bill Clinton was not going to be there today, and he changed his plans to be there. And the other thing I'd say is that Obama did something that no white politician can do. He scolded the black community. He said to get up from the TV, go down and meet with your teachers, get those 40-ounce malt liquor bottles off the street. That's the kind of message that it may sound like that's counterintuitive, but it's the kind of message that black voters want to be here. Right. And you can't do that if you're a white politician.
No, absolutely. If Hillary came out and said, get off the couch, I couldn't imagine how she would be perceived. But, you know, Bob, you mentioned how Bill Clinton didn't commit to attend this thing until yesterday. Barack Obama said he was going to go there several weeks ago. But as popular as Bill Clinton was with black voters, do you think he can actually trump Obama?
Well, I mean, Bill Clinton can pretty much trump any other politician when it comes to speeches and things like that. But in terms, it's not Bill Clinton doing the trumping here. I mean, the question is, can he trump Obama for his wife? And the answer to that is, I think, no, he can't. Look, there's too much riding here in the black community on this. The idea that you actually have an electable black candidate is something that's going to be a lot of pride in that community, and I just think it's very difficult. If Hillary Clinton's planning on beating him in the black community, I think she's making a big mistake. All
right, and you know, Roger, Obama announced several weeks ago, we found out yesterday that Bill would be headed there, but why the simultaneous appearances? Why wouldn't Hillary think that it might serve her better if she were to actually go down to Alabama before the march or after the march, but not at the same time as her competitor?
Guess speaking as an old political operative, I frankly think that she called Bill to bail her out. In other words, a head-to-head appearance with Barack Obama, if she drew fewer people, or if she had a smaller crowd, or if she didn't get the coverage that he did, or if her speech wasn't as profound, which you can almost bet on because everything she said is pretty canned and has been so polled over that it comes out pretty homogenous. So I think she had Bill Clinton to bail her out. Now, no one can say this was a head-to-head between Hillary Clinton, who's on the ballot, and Barack Obama, who's on the ballot, and Bill Clinton, who isn't on the ballot.
He's not on the ballot, although I think we're going to probably treat him as if he is on the ballot.
It's Bob, not the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but you know what, though? Two Clintons in the White House, I think a lot of people are seeing it that way. Wouldn't you think, Bob?
Well, it's partially that, but I'll tell you, I don't think she should make the mistake that Al Gore made. Bill Clinton is the racehorse of American politics. You do not leave him in the barn. And I think in her case, there's downside, of course, because given some of his history, but this is singularly, next to he and Ronald Reagan together, the two best politicians in the last half of the 20th century, and you just cannot not make use of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Roger Stone and Bob Beckel, we thank you both, gentlemen. Thank you very much for talking to us today. Well, tonight, Stephen Grant is in custody. He is the only suspect in the gruesome murder of his wife, Tara. Investigators in Michigan turning up new evidence in just the last hour, and they search a park for her remains. They're still searching at this hour. Police caught Stephen Grant 300 miles away from home. He was running through the snowy and freezing Michigan woods with no coat on, no shoes. And Jeff Goldblatt has been watching this story live in Mount Clemens, Michigan. And Jeff, what kind of shape is Grant in tonight?
Well, when he was admitted to the hospital this morning, Julie, he was in serious condition. He's since been upgraded to stable condition, and it's our understanding it could be a matter of days at most before he's extradited here to Macomb County, Michigan, to face charges in connection with the murder and dismemberment of his wife sometime before Valentine's Day. You mentioned the fact that there have been more body parts of Tara Grant found today, this being near a park near the Grant home in Washington Township, about 20 miles away from here at the Sheriff's Department. This is the second time in 2 days that the Sheriff's Department has found body parts identified as being related to Tara Grant, and all this follows a day on Friday when the Sheriff's Department entered the Grant home for probable cause, went into the family's garage, and found Tara Grant's torso. Julie?
You know, you mentioned earlier that they're going to have to conduct an autopsy to know the actual cause of her death. Do we have any idea exactly what killed this woman? And I suppose they have enough body parts in order to come up with an answer at some point, maybe this week.
I think they have an idea, but they're not sharing that with the media at this point in time. All they have told us is that they did find several instruments in the house which they are characterizing as could be related to the murder of Tara Grant.
All right, Jeff Goldblatt, keep us posted if you learn anything more. Thank you so much, Jeff. And news from Georgia today on the bus crash that killed 6 people this week, including 4 college baseball players, while funeral arrangements are being made. The investigation is showing that the intersection where the bus lost control has quite a history of accidents. Laura Lingle is down in Atlanta with the very latest news. And Laura, I guess you were at the crash site today. We're hearing the driver may have actually mistaken this exit ramp for a continuation of the carpool lane. So you'd think right away they must have warning signs and different, I don't know, advisories going out to future motorists in this area.
Right.
Do they?
Well, here's the thing. We just took this drive and we took some video to show you going up the ramp. There are signs that says that it is an exit. There's actually a stop sign that you can see before you come to that overpass. But it does appear, because there are not a lot of skid marks there, that this bus driver did not realize he was on an exit ramp, that he instead thought that he was on a continuous carpool lane. It could be a little confusing, I suppose, if you're looking at the ramp and the exit sign because it's black and white and it says exit for carpool lane. So, but nonetheless, there are plenty of signs that do indicate it's an exit. Just what kind of exit is what some people have in question. Now, the Georgia transportation officials are saying today they are not going to add any new signs or close that ramp because it does meet all of the federal restrictions. I want to go right now. We are joined live with Eric Fulcomer, who's with Bluffton University. He has just come from speaking to one of the parents of the most critically injured here in this crash at the hospital. Thanks for joining us, Eric. Real quick, how's everybody doing up there? What can you tell us?
Well, we still have 2 students who are in critical condition. I spoke to one of the fathers. He's very grateful for all the support they've received here. They're hopeful that the students will recover. We were pleased that 2 of our students were released today from Atlanta Medical Center, so we have 6 that are hospitalized, 4 here at Grady, 1 at Atlanta Medical Center, and 1 at Piedmont.
Eric, so many people here at the scene and the phone calls we've got at Fox, everybody wants to know what they can do. It is such a tragic scene. Everybody wants to chip in and help. Is there anything that people can do?
We've been overwhelmed with the support we've received all across the country, with prayers, with financial donations. We have set up a fund for the families at our local bank, and the information is available on our website for that.
All right, terrific. Julie, we'll send it back to you, and we'll keep bringing you updates here from Georgia.
All right, Laura Engel, thank you so much. We're still waiting word on the coach's condition as well. He was undergoing surgery for facial lacerations and so forth. He is in serious condition at this hour. Well, a tornado devastates an Alabama town, the local high school losing 8 classmates in the wreckage. Coming up, how the survivors are turning tragedy into a chance to strengthen their home. A couple of teenagers giving pot to 2 young children. One of them is just 2 years old, and they caught the whole thing on videotape. Find out what could actually happen to the teens who pulled this one. A place for healing at the center of a political firestorm. We'll have the latest on the controversy around Walter Reed Army Hospital. Then we want to hear what you have to say about it. Who is to blame for all the problems and the reports that have surfaced in the last couple weeks? Give us a call, 1-888-TEL-FOX. Your word live after the break.
The captioning for this program is brought to you by
Activon Ultra Strength Arthritis. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon. Safe and effective pain relief. Activon Ultra Strength Arthritis. In stores now.
We gotta help him! Look! There he is! We saw your SOS!
SUS, stirring up singles.
Kool-Aid singles!
You make it yourself. Grab a glass.
Kool-Aid singles! They're fast in a glass or a bottle.
Oh, yeah!
Before Oragel, if I had ice cream, it would be like a shockwave, like a lightning bolt. And after Oragel, pain-free for an entire month.
Oragel. Swab it on. Sensitivity gone.
This product worked. It worked 100%.
Hi, I'm Robert Wagner with an important message for homeowners 62 years or older. For the last 2 years, I've been telling you about the important benefits of a reverse mortgage. A reverse mortgage is a government-insured loan that allows homeowners to access the equity in their homes without making any monthly loan repayments. I know, it sounds too good to be true, and you probably have a lot of questions. That's why the Senior Lending Network created this free educational video. It explains how the government regulates and insures reverse mortgages, the costs and fees associated with the reverse mortgage, the difference between a reverse mortgage and a home equity loan, how a reverse mortgage may affect your estate and your heirs, and much more. Over 1 million homeowners have already called the Senior Lending Network for their free video, and now it's your turn. If you're a homeowner 62 years or older, your free video is waiting, so call now. And remember, it's your turn.
I'm a mother of 3 and a grandmother.
My husband, he said I was hot.
I haven't had this smoking hot body since I was in college.
You can't miss the results of the new Nutrisystem Nourish, the easy weight loss program that lets you eat great and lose weight.
I'm a 40-year-old mom, and I think I look better than ever.
Call or go online now to get 4 weeks of delicious meals and lose weight. Plus, you'll also get an extra week of Nutrisystem meals free.
It's so simple. With Nutrisystem, if you can eat, you can lose weight.
Our secret is the breakthrough science of the glycemic advantage that separates good carbs from bad.
My husband loves my new body. In fact, he jokingly calls me his trophy wife.
Nutrisystem delivers every meal to your door, and shipping is free.
I love it, I love it, I love it.
For about $10 a day, you'll enjoy 4 weeks of perfectly portioned meals.
How can you argue with results like these?
Get our 4-week program, and we'll send you an extra 7 breakfasts, 7 lunches, 7 dinners, and 7 desserts. A full week of food absolutely free. Call now.
The hottest topics.
What's at stake in this election?
The biggest newsmakers.
Why didn't we finish the job in Afghanistan?
The inside scoop on Washington.
You brought this up, so you get an answer.
Nothing gets by Chris Wallace.
Join me on Fox News Sunday.
Tonight, these lucky lotto winners turned their home into a house of booze, drugs, and wild sex. Now their 4-month bender is about to go bust.
After 52 complaints, enough is enough.
Has their luck just run out? Geraldo has the outrageous story tonight.
Incredible video now of 2 teenagers. They were seen giving 2 children, one of them a toddler, just 2 years old, marijuana, then making them smoke it on this home video. Now, the home video came to light in Texas, and cops are calling it, quote, repulsive, I'd say. Police say the uncle of the 2 little boys and his friend are seen egging on the 2 little kids and then laughing about it. From the Big Story Live to Molly Line in the New York newsroom. So, Molly, tell me about this video and how did police actually get their hands on it?
Well, it initially started as they were investigating a series of burglaries, and these 2 teenagers were suspects in those burglaries, so they went into the home looking for evidence, and this video is what they found. And obviously, now they've pressed charges on this matter, and they're taking it very seriously. These teenagers are charged with felony counts, 2 counts each of injury to a child, and just to let you know how seriously prosecutors are taking this, they're being held on $150,000 bail. These teenagers, 17-year-old Dimitri McCoy and 18-year-old Van Swan Poultry, both being held right now.
All right, so then what happened to the little boys? And I've got to know, where in the heck are their parents in this video?
Well, the mother was supposedly there at the home at the time that this was taking place, but she claims that she was sleeping and in some other area of the home, so that she didn't actually see this happen. These little boys are now taken into protective custody. They're with family services, and the family is trying to get them back. The great-grandmother is trying to get these young boys back out of foster care and whatnot. But at that point in time, right now they're safe and secure in family services.
So the suspects obviously are facing serious charges, but I got to know, have they come out to explain themselves, or are they remaining tight-lipped?
Well, we haven't heard anything at all from these teenagers, from the suspects, but at the same time, they are still being held. So at this point in time, until they make bail, we probably won't hear too much from them, and we certainly haven't heard from an attorney as of yet.
All right. Molly Line, thank you very much. What a disturbing story that is. Hugo Chavez admits he's scared. He thinks the CIA is out to get him. Why he's so concerned, we'll explain. Another day, another update on Anna Nicole Smith. Word of a deal between 2 men who could be Danny Lynn's father. And we're going to explain coming up after the break.
The race is on. The world. The markets. The technology. The borderless economy. The friction-free state. The flow. The rate of change. The rate of interest. The rate of return. The deals. The mergers. The flow of capital. The flow of commerce. The flow of knowledge. Culture. The value of talent. Opportunity, information, insight. Growth. The flow of resources, the flow of goods and services, the political reality, reputation, knowledge of the consumer, your investments, knowledge of the marketplace, the economic reality, your portfolio, the practical reality, your future, the wisdom, the world. Morgan Stanley, Worldwise.
The moment may be right for you, but your Sleeping Beauty may want to wait till tomorrow. That's okay. You have up to 36 hours with Cialis. Cialis is the only erectile dysfunction tablet clinically proven to work up to 36 hours. 36 hours means you can be flexible and choose for yourselves when the moment is right. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience priapism, an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away. Some things take time. You can have it. 36-hour Cialis. When the moment is right, will you be ready?
A great magician.
The only mystery I never solved was why my heart couldn't let go of you.
A great detective.
She was seen in the company of another man.
What man? A dangerous secret.
Leave him. It's not that easy. It has nothing to do with you.
It has everything to do with me!
As long as we're alive, he'll hunt us.
Academy Award nominees Edward Norton and Paul Giamatti, The Illusionist. Don't reveal the secret.
He's proven to be more than a magician.
Tune to Channel 999 to watch this movie right now with Charter on Demand.
Harsh winter weather can leave your skin red, itchy, and dry. Try Cortisone 10. Feel the heal fast with the power of 10 healing ingredients, plus the strongest medicine available without a prescription. Feel the heal with Cortisone 10.
Does back pain limit your motion?
Get relief with Icy Hot Pro Therapy. Powered by Hot Packs. Up to 8 hours of muscle-relaxing, pain-relieving heat that goes where you go. Icy Hot Pro Therapy.
Strong support plus powerful relief.
Hopefully they're putting in place the leadership that will make sure that our troops get exactly the kind of quality care that they make. The sooner they get focused on this, the better.
Gates is a breath of fresh air. He's taken action, and not only low-level people, but high-level people have been replaced, and I think that's welcome action.
Fox News Sunday today taking on the issue of problems at Walter Reed Army Hospital. Reports show wounded combat veterans exposed to terrible conditions. The story has gone well beyond medical and military issues, and now it's a political flashpoint. Jonathan Allen is the Inside Congress reporter for Congressional Quarterly magazine. Thank you so much for talking to us about this one. This is going to be quite a week. The scandal obviously is going to be the subject of 5 congressional hearings. Tomorrow, the hospital commander who was relieved Thursday, Army Secretary Francis Harvey, is expected to testify. So what do you think we're going to hear from him?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what he's going to say, but we've already heard some from him. One of the reasons that the Defense Secretary Gates gave for his dismissal was that he wasn't pleased with the reaction to these reports coming out, that there wasn't an aggressive enough reaction to fix the problem going on. And so we've already heard a little bit from Harvey, and Gates didn't like what he had to say. I imagine we'll probably hear a little bit of a different tune when he testifies before congressional investigators.
Well, Harvey came out at first as apologetic, but then he also came across as defensive, and he said that there were 2 sides to the story and that the Post is only telling one side. So is there another side that maybe we're not reporting on, that maybe we don't know about?
Well, I'm sure that pretty soon we'll have all sides to the discussion. There's going to be a lot of investigation, as you noted. Several congressional committees are going to have hearings this week, starting tomorrow morning, I think at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning at Walter Reed. But the accusation that there was yellow journalism involved is a tough one to take. I mean, if you read the stories, obviously there's a lot going on at Walter Reed that shouldn't have been.
All right. The Army has asked Army Surgeon General, Lieutenant General Kevin Kiley to step in. But this is becoming another lightning rod for congressional criticism because, as many might know, he was the commander at Walter Reed back in 2002 to 2004. So people are thinking, well, these problems go back to the 70s, and anybody who ever had anything to do with the problem shouldn't be there. What would you say to the criticism about him?
Well, I'm certainly not going to answer or add to the criticism, but I will say there's definitely a chorus like the Who song of "Meet the new boss, same as the old boss," and I think that there's, adequate concern to be expressed. I guess there will be expressed, and certainly, like I said, there are going to be these investigations and hearings, and Kiley's is scheduled to appear before at least 2 committees tomorrow that I know of, and I believe a third the following day, the Senate Armed Services Committee. So members of Congress are going to hear a lot from him, and I assume the news media will also hear a lot from him, and thus the public's going to hear a lot from him in the next couple days.
All right, I want to go to our phones. We have Joe from Georgia calling in, and Joe, what do you think about all of this, and who do you think is to blame?
Well, Julia, I think, as old Harry Truman said, the buck stops here. The Army Secretary was fired. They fired the general. I think they have to. You've got to have accountability, and they've got to get to the bottom of it. And if these new people can't do it, they got to keep firing till they get somebody that'll be accountable. It's good management.
Okay, so you don't necessarily blame the Bush administration. I mean, is there anybody to blame? This has been going on since Vietnam.
Well, Julie, it's a terrible thing, and that's the problem with government. You got to get people in that are efficient. So, I guess in one sense, you can hold the Bush administration responsible. I mean, you got to, if you're doing the job, if you're in charge, you're held accountable, and that's what happens in the business world. I think that's what ought to happen in government.
All right, Joe, thank you. Jonathan,
Thank you.
Jonathan, just a final word from you. These hearings this week, will they make a difference? And when will we finally see our VA hospitals living up to the standards that they should live up to in order to properly take care of these wounded soldiers coming back, many of whom say, and one, in fact, will testify this week saying they have not been treated properly?
I can't put an exact timeline on it, but what you're seeing here is Congress playing one of its chief roles as an overseer, and that's to highlight problems that are going on within the government and try, whether it's through hearings or through actual legislation, to rectify problems that they see. And I think we're going to hear a lot from them in the coming days.
All right, I look forward to hearing it. Jonathan Allen, thank you so much. And we are going to be hearing a lot of it. We're going to have live coverage tomorrow of that hearing at Walter Reed Hospital. So make sure you tune in to Fox on America's Newsroom with Bill Hemmer and Megyn Kelly starting at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. Fox will be all over this story for you. Meantime, Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez is calling all hands to deck for his own safety. He says his enemies, including the CIA, is out to kill him. He says he fears that his fear has only gotten worse since the White House named John Negroponte to the post of Deputy Secretary of State. Negroponte, of course, is the former head of the CIA. Also on the list of people out to get him is a Venezuelan accused of bombing a Cuban airliner in 1976. Freedom of speech, or did Bill Maher just go too far this time when making comments about the Vice President Dick Cheney? We're going to debate it. A fair and balanced debate coming up later. Also, a community rebuilds after a storm causing death and destruction to this high school. High school students mourning the death of classmates as they pitch in the rebuilding efforts. We're going to go live to Enterprise, Alabama after the break.
You've just finished a beautiful homemade cherry pie. The last thing you want to do is clean up that burnt-on mess left over. Now you won't have to. Introducing the Clean Cook and Liner. It's the amazing non-stick cooking liner that keeps your oven floor looking new. Now, instead of scrubbing all day long with toxic chemicals, you just remove the reusable Clean Cook and Liner and wipe it down with a warm sponge. Just like non-stick cookware, it makes cleaning easy. Pizza can leave a gooey mess, which can be a real bear to clean. Now, with the Clean Cook and Liner, even your toughest burn-on messes are no match. The secret is our unique oven-safe material that can withstand temperatures over 500 degrees. Ideal for most gas or electric ovens. You can also cut them to fit your microwave turntable to keep your rotisserie free from drippings and your toaster oven looking like new. Not another grimy baking pan. Skip the work and use them whenever you bake or boil. Or to make sticky buns a little less sticky. Uh-oh, a beautiful presentation ruined because it stuck to the dish. Not anymore, because with easy-to-use templates, you can customize the liners for all kinds of bakeware. Best of all, Clean Cook and Liners will make food come out great. Now, instead of scrubbing all these, just line your bakeware and save yourself hours of cleaning. You could pay up to $25 a piece for other liners. Through this exclusive TV offer, you get the Clean Cook and Liner for only $14.99. Call now and we'll also give you a second Clean Cook and Liner absolutely free. Just pay separate shipping and handling. But wait, there's more. If you call right now, we'll also include 10 of these easy-to-use templates, perfect for customizing your liners to fit all your favorite bakeware, giving you perfect results every time you cook. You get it all. 2 Clean Cook and Liners, plus the amazing templates for customizing all your bakeware. Combined, a $50 value, yours for only $14.99. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-931-5896 to order Clean Cook and Liners for only $14.99. That's 1-800-931-5896. This offer is not available in any store, so have your credit card ready and call 1-800-931-5896. Call now.
Why does that bother you?
Why does it bother me? So easy a caveman can do it?
Well, it's just a commercial.
Okay. Well, what if it said, Geico.com, so easy a therapist can do it?
Well, that commercial wouldn't make sense to me.
Why not?
Well, therapists
are what? Smart? My mother's calling. I'll put it on speaker.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hi, I'm Brian.
Tim.
Carol.
Bob.
I'm Barb.
Jen. Mike.
Remember their names? If not, try new Vital and Sharp Mind from Bayer Nutritional Science. It supports memory, mental sharpness, and healthy brain function with a unique formula of ginkgo and omega-3.
This is Tim, Carol, Mike, Jen, Bob, and Barb.
Bayer Nutritional Science. How vital do you want to be?
For years now, the conventional wisdom has been that a Republican needs the support of most of the conservative wing of the party, at least, in order to win the White House. But if that's true, the GOP field could look a lot different in the next year or so. The group called CPAC holding a straw poll over the weekend where 2 favorites ended up further down in that list, and Mitt Romney actually made it to the top. Caroline Shively live in Washington, D.C. So, Caroline, what is CPAC, and does a Romney win mean that he could potentially be the new Republican frontrunner?
Well, he could be the front runner with one part of the GOP. CPAC is the Conservative Political Action Conference. It's a group of grassroots conservative activists who just met here in Washington. Romney won 21% of their votes as the favorite presidential candidate, and they are key to claiming your conservative credentials. It's a big win for Romney because he's been called a flip-flopper in the past on key conservative issues like gun control and abortion. He still hasn't convinced some conservatives, though. There was a guy dressed like a dolphin named Flip walking around that conference handing out flyers against him.
Rudy Giuliani has been consistently leading Republicans in the polls, but he actually came in second in the CPAC straw poll. I mean, how does that play out for him?
Well, Giuliani's not your typical Republican presidential candidate, and for a long time, even with those strong poll numbers you mentioned, that's caused many in the GOP base to write him off. After all, he supports gun control, gay rights, and abortion, typical things more associated with the liberal left than Republicans. But coming in second, and just about 4 points behind Romney, was pretty significant for him. It could show his strong anti-terror credentials are winning over those conservatives.
All right, we got about 10 seconds, but I have to ask you, Senator John McCain, he didn't attend the vote for the non-binding resolution in Iraq, and again he decided not to attend this event, and when his name was mentioned on stage there were actually boos. I mean, what does that mean for him?
Yeah, boos because he didn't show up. Many national polls show him trailing Giuliani. Our latest Fox poll shows him behind 39 to 19%.
All right, Caroline Shively live in Washington. Thank you so much.
You bet.
A swarm of volunteers are headed south after tornadoes tore up several states. Most of them are showing up in Enterprise, Alabama, where a twister struck that high school, killing 8 students this week. The wreckage, though, is widespread, but residents are reportedly getting a new sense of hope today. From the Big Story Live to Marianne Silber in Enterprise, Alabama. And thank God there is some good news to report out of there. Tell us about the volunteers specifically helping on the ground.
Well, that is a good way to describe it, a glimmer of hope, because all day long we have seen volunteers coming back and forth by here, high school students walking by offering food to everyone. There are a lot of volunteers from the community, in addition to soldiers from nearby Fort Rucker, as well as National Guard troops on the ground that have been coming into the communities that were hard hit here and pulling out debris. This is going to be an ongoing effort. I am told that they have restored power to all of those homes that can have power, which is very good news, because tonight it's going going to get down into the 20s, and emergency officials were worried about families that would be in their homes with no power, no heat, and that's not going to be the case anymore. And as you said, really the hope is the fact that you see the entire community, especially those high school students, have just lost their friends, their fellow students that have come here to pitch in and do anything they can. I just saw a couple of them walk by with a pitchfork and a shovel. I guess they were going to go down there and help with removal of the debris.
So you've got these 1,200 students that are displaced and they're mourning over their lost classmates. When do they go back to school? And then when they do, where do they go? And then thirdly, what happens to the school that's destroyed? Do they rebuild?
Well, right now they have not announced when they will go back to school. There is some talk that they are going to go to an elementary school. There's a brand new elementary school that has just been built. That was going to be for kindergartners and first graders, and they're talking about having the high school students finish out the year there until their high school can be rebuilt. It doesn't look like they're going to tear it down. What they're doing right now is just patching all the holes and getting ready, it looks like, to rebuild what they can, and of course some buildings stayed intact. So it looks like the high school is going to stay where it is, and they're just going to rebuild it and try to put the kids somewhere else for the time being.
All right, Marianne Silber, thank you so much for that.
Thanks, Julie.
In Illinois, some homeowners are now worried about huge chunks of ice threatening their homes. The ice, more than a foot thick, wow, is pushing up from the Kankakee River and wedging against homes along the riverbank. Now there is the additional concern of whether a warm-up will actually cause flooding from all that melting ice. Rick Reitmuth live in the Fox Weather Center with a coast-to-coast look at the weather. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Julie. Yeah, I mean, there certainly is some of that concern of the melting. Not just yet, though, because we have another bit of a cold blast moving in across parts of the Great Lakes and into the Northeast. So there certainly will, because there is a lot of areas that are really extremely frozen after the bitterly cold temperatures of the last couple months. Now, though, a little bit of a clipper system moving in across the Great Lakes. This is also kind of being pulled up and enhanced by some of the lake water. So we're seeing some snow across areas just across the eastern sides of the lakes. And some of this snow making its way towards coastal areas. Just going to be a few flurries in the air, nothing sticking on the ground, nothing to be too concerned about, certainly right now. But behind this system, a major cold blast of air is going to be hitting much of the Northeast for the day on Tuesday into Wednesday. Really, it's going to ride by tomorrow night. So be prepared for that in your commute home tomorrow. It's going to be extremely cold, really some of the coldest air we've seen this year. The good part is that because it's so late in the season, it's not going to last for that long. Here's a look at your current temperatures, though. The cold air arrives tomorrow. I want to move across to the other side of the country because where we've got the beautiful conditions is across so much of the L.A. basin. 80 degrees in Los Angeles, mostly sunny skies. Those kinds of nice conditions look like they're going to continue for much of this week. Julie.
Rick Reitmuth, thank you so much. Well, what a shaky time for investors last week. A couple of sharp drops for the Dow, a couple of rebounds, problems with overseas markets, and then, of course, questions about the near-term economic picture. So what happens when the bell rings tomorrow? Wouldn't we all like to know? Mike Norman hopefully has a crystal ball under the desk. He's a Fox News business contributor and founder of the Economic Contrarian Update.
I put away the wizard costume after Halloween. I did have a crystal ball.
Well, we
and it worked great, too,
that you can tell us what is going to happen come tomorrow morning after a week like last week.
Let me see. Look, I think the most important thing to remember, Julie, for investors, for folks at home, is that, you know, in the long term, if you focus on getting into the market when it pulls back and you buy quality stocks, you're going to do very, very well. The key thing is behavior. Do not panic. It is the people who panic and sell out on these sort of events are the ones who ultimately lose. And I think you have to just try to stay calm. I know it's easier said than done, but you have to stay calm. Now, how does it look for the market? I think in the short term, we're due for a bounce. We've seen a very significant shift in the market psychology and the sentiment, which went from very optimistic, very bullish, to very, very fearful in a short period of time. We'll get a bounce. The longer picture, however, is a little bit cloudier, and that's because the economy is slowing down. We have these market events now to think about, whether they'll impact confidence, and the Federal Reserve is sitting tight with their monetary policy. They're not saying we're going to cut interest rates right yet. We're going to sit and we're going to wait. So the longer term looks a little cloudier.
Initially, when this happened, everybody was talking so much about how this was the biggest drop since 9/11. And now market analysts are looking back and saying, well, it wasn't that significant of a disaster as all predicted. Why?
It was a big drop, but in percentage terms, you know, it wasn't that big a drop. Overall, we've had much larger drops. The 1987 crash, for example, and everything stayed relatively sound. And even when you look at events overseas, the Chinese market, which some say precipitated this sell-off, 9.5% down in one day. Even that, in perspective, where it has come in the last year, not that much. So things look still to be
okay. Do we buy tomorrow morning?
I would buy.
Really?
I would buy, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to listen to you. Right. I've been considering it. Do I buy? Do I get in? Or, you know, you got to get in on it now. You
can't get, I mean, it's hard to guess the absolute bottom, but use these sort of big, very emotional pullbacks to get in. I think, you know, those are good entry
I'm going to take your advice, and you'll pay me back if I lose.
Don't shoot me if I'm wrong.
Mike Norman, thank you so much. Great to see you as always. Well, Anna Nicole is dead and buried and hopefully resting in peace, or maybe not really, because her story is far from over. The fight over her daughter and her money is just getting started, and her mother, Virgie Arthur, is part of the three-way legal fight. What are these three up to now? And we're going to talk about it after the break.
I'll stop the world and melt with you. You've seen the difference and it's getting better all the time.
Inspiration pulled from your life. That's professional grade. With refined styling and overhead sky views unlike any other, it's defining the category. Welcome to Acadia, the crossover from GMC.
When your insurance is in sync, you can roll with anything, travelers.
Every day, Lexmark printers go to work for some of the world's most important companies. In fact, 75% of the top banks, retailers, and pharmacies use Lexmark. And now, that same performance can work for your home, too. Introducing Lexmark's new all-in-one. With professional features and a protection guarantee that includes next business day replacement, Lexmark is ready to go to work for you.
I'm ready to fight my cancer.
I'm ready to begin chemotherapy.
I really am ready because I'm going to take Neulasta right from the start to help protect me from infection.
Chemotherapy can reduce your white blood cell count and increase your risk of infection, which could put your treatment on hold. But Neulasta is a white blood cell booster that can help restore your white blood cell count to reduce your risk of infection. And with a sufficient white blood cell count, your doctor may have a better chance of giving you your chemo on schedule, which doctors agree is the first step to success. Neulasta is for most cancer patients receiving strong chemotherapy. In rare cases, splenic rupture or serious allergic reactions have been reported. Report abdominal or shoulder pain or any allergic reaction to your doctor immediately. The most common side effect of this injection is mild to moderate bone pain.
I'm ready to start.
I'm ready to fight.
I'm ready, thanks to Neulasta.
Ask your doctor about Neulasta and how you can be ready for chemotherapy.
Tonight, Sean slams CBS for an outrageous report about U.S. troops.
They've never taken the time to tell the other side of that story.
Find out why he's fired up and fighting back.
This is a hit piece.
Watch the full explosive report on Hannity's America tonight. Bashing Obama, trashing Hillary, slamming the ACLU. Finally, there's a show for the rest of us. You made us the #1 new show on cable, so this time, we'll hit them even harder. Tonight, don't miss an all-new half-hour news hour.
It's been more than 3 weeks after she died. Anna Nicole Smith was finally buried, though. The procession followed by an army of reporters, the funeral as over-the-top as her life was. But the story doesn't end there. Not by a long shot. There's a baby in the mix, a baby who actually stands to inherit millions of dollars. Joining me now, Fox News legal analyst Lise Wheel and attorney Matthew J. O'Connor. Thank you both for coming on today. All right, Lise.
Happy Sunday, Julie.
Oh, yeah, it's a happy Sunday, all right, but not in the Bahamas.
No.
All these legal skirmishes to follow, and poor Anna Nicole Smith buried finally next to her son. Let's start with the first battle, and I suppose it's the battle over the baby and who gets, I guess, custody, and then secondly, who gets the money that belongs to that baby. Lise?
Well, we've got all these characters that are still fighting over the, the custody of the baby. She's with Howard K. Stern right now, but remember, Howard K. Stern keeps adamantly saying he's not going to go with the DNA test. And I researched the Bahamian law, and it says, it's an interesting paragraph in the law. It says, look, if a person denies or will not take the DNA testing, a judge can infer from that, Julie. So what is he going to infer? Well, he's going to infer that that person is actually not the baby's natural father.
Okay, Matthew, Larry Burkhead went to a Bahamian court last week seeking to force the DNA test. So a hearing is scheduled for March 16th. Yet another hearing in this case. It's ridiculous.
Well, there's no shortage of hearings on this case, and I think even if the Bahamian court doesn't get the DNA, I think you're likely to see the California court determine paternity. It's like that Shakespearean phrase, "Methinketh he doth protest too much," and that's certainly the case with Howard Stern. The more he refuses to have the test done, the more, in my mind, as a reasonable person, indicates that he may not be the father. And there's another wrinkle. It may not even be Larry Burkhead's. I mean, I think there's a third person, and God help us all if it's Zsa Zsa Gabor's husband. But
well, remember he ran screaming from a lie detector last week, so I don't think it's Zsa Zsa Gabor's husband. But who knows? Maybe it's Marshall's husband, the old billionaire who died, and then this would be a very, very rich little baby.
Yeah,
it's a wild card.
It's just so ironic because she married the billionaire,
right.
Then she dies, and now Howard K. Stern is selling exclusivity to her funeral, to Entertainment Tonight for $3 million. I guess what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of...
And Julie, the other thing is, it doesn't really stop. I mean, I hate to say this, but it doesn't just stop with deciding who the natural father is. Let's just play it out for a minute. Let's say Howard K. Stern is determined not to be the natural father, somebody else is. But then the next test is, well, what's in the best interest of the child? And Howard K. Stern could still definitely argue, look, I've been with this baby since inception. I've raised it. Now it'll be, what, 2 years old? And maybe now the baby will be reading the verdict by the time that, it's actually decided. I mean,
by the time the appeals are over,
exactly.
From high school.
So he may be able to make the argument, look, okay, I'm not the natural father, but in the best interest of the child, it's better that the baby stay with me. I mean, just see how long this is dragging out.
What does it say to you guys? Because I think the one thing that kind of just irks me the most out of this, if I were to have to pick one, is the fact that Howard K. Stern allegedly received $3 million from Entertainment Tonight. Howard K. Stern, Virgie Arthur, and Larry Burkhead all had to testify at that Florida media circus hearing under the Judge Larry Seidlin that they weren't accepting money. So there's perjury involved, there's money involved, and then there's the two alleged fathers who are now brokering a deal of some sort. I don't get that. Matthew, could you make sense of it for me?
Well,
you're
obviously,
a lawyer.
well, no, this is one of those cases that, I mean, you flip a coin, because none of the characters come to the table with clean hands. And let's take what Lee said a step farther. Let's flip it the other way. Let's say that Howard K. Stern is the biological father. That doesn't end the controversy, because during the same time period, you've got the inquiry going on Daniel's death. So if it turns out that he is somehow involved in that or acquiesced in it or is negligent as a parent figure, I think you could have other people, and Virgie Arthur being one of them, who would petition for custody. So even after that, I foresee this going on months and months and months.
And Julie, that's not even talking then about the money. I mean, once we get custody decided, where this baby is going to be staying, then it's, does she step in the shoes of Anna Nicole and go after, half of the money that's in California? I mean, this case is going to be around for months, years.
All right, Matthew O'Connor, thank you very much. And Lise, before I let you go, we're going to be talking real quick about your book, The 51% Minority. And it's kind of interesting because Howard K. Stern was living off of a woman with money. And you're writing a book about how a lot of women aren't making as much money as the men and how they can change that.
Exactly.
So with Howard K. Stern excluded.
Exactly. Other than Howard K. Stern. And by the way, I just happen to have a copy here, Julie. I don't know why I just have it in my hand here. But no, I mean, Howard K. Stern excluded. Women are still only making 73 cents on a man's dollar. This book gives you a pocket legal handbook on how you can get your rights in all realms of your workplace.
Yep, and it happened to you, right?
Yeah, it did.
It did, and you fought.
I fought, and I got it, and that's what gave me the idea for the book.
And then you wrote a book about it. Good for you, Lise.
Thanks, Julie.
Girl power. Matthew O'Connor, Lise Wheel, thank you very much.
I have zero doubt that if Dick Cheney was not in power, people wouldn't be dying needlessly tomorrow. Okay, but
all right, that was Bill Maher on air Friday. Some big names shooting off their mouths this weekend. The media frenzy surrounding the bad behavior, and Pags and Powers are coming up to have a fair and balanced debate after the break.
I smoked for forever. I can't count how many times I tried quitting.
I can't tell you the number of times I tried quitting.
Yeah, I worried about my health, but even that didn't help me quit.
I would start out strong, then my willpower would fade.
Now I know.
For me, smoking is more than a habit. Smoking is a nicotine addiction.
That's why I found it so hard to quit.
That's why it was so hard for me to quit.
The good news? Proven medical advances have been made in understanding nicotine addiction. For more information on how to quit smoking and how support can help, visit mytimetoquit.com or call 1-866-239-8729.
I didn't have to blame myself.
I know what kept stopping me.
For free information about a plan to quit smoking and to find out about a prescription treatment option, visit mytimetoquit.com or call 1-866-239-8729.
Now I understand.
I think about quitting in a whole different way.
I knew it was my time to quit.
I knew it was my time.
I knew it was my time to quit.
This time I did it.
Visit mytimetoquit.com or call now.
In our family, if it's not going to be easy, it's probably not going to happen.
Everything's simple with the Charter bundle.
And we are all over simple.
I started with Charter Digital Cable. I added Charter Telephone.
And then we added Charter High-Speed Internet.
No drama.
Easy.
No problems.
And now all my Charter services are on one bill.
Now that's simple.
And simple is something we can definitely handle.
Get Charter high-speed internet and telephone together for just $59.98 per month for 6 months. Call today.
Here are this week's specials from Hertz Car Sales in Pasco, home of the Northwest Gold certified warranty included with every car. A 2005 Honda Civic Coupe. This week at Hertz, it's just $13,988. Or a 2006 Ford Fusion SE. This week at Hertz, it's only $13,988. Or a 2006 Cadillac CTS. This week at Hertz, it's just $23,988. For real selection and real savings, it's Hertz Car Sales in Pasco, near the Autoplex, not near the price.
Oh, you don't need No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah,
well, whatever. Every deadline and your mistakes are costing me a fortune. I'll see you in court.
Wait. Don't get involved in a long and costly court battle. Consider another option for resolving disputes. Mediation. It's an alternative to the court process. Is less costly, resolves disputes quickly. Mediation provides the communication to resolve disputes and create long-lasting agreements. Don't let dispute control your personal life or business. Call Para and Associates now.
Everything you want, every time you visit. The Wyndham by Request program. Stay 3 nights at a Wyndham resort and get the 4th night free with Getaways by Request. Call 1-800-WYNDHAM or visit wyndham.com.
I have zero doubt that if Dick Cheney was not in power, people wouldn't be dying needlessly tomorrow.
Okay, but let's talk about yourself for a second very quickly. If somebody on this panel said they wish that Dick Cheney had been blown up, and you didn't say
I think he did.
Okay. Did you say
no,
that?
No, I quoted that.
You don't,
okay.
oh,
But,
you don't believe that?
No, I'm just saying that if he did die, other people, more people would live.
Okay,
that's a fact.
Bill Maher essentially saying the world would be a lot safer if the Vice President Dick Cheney was dead. The comments coming right after Ann Coulter used a derogatory term to describe Democratic presidential candidate, former Senator John Edwards. Well, the Coulter story was everywhere. Maher gave his performance Friday night, and until now, perhaps you haven't really heard much of anything. Joe Pagliarulo, radio talk show host from San Antonio, Texas, joining me now, and Kirsten Powers, Democratic strategist and Fox News contributor. Pags and Powers together always on Sundays here on The Big Story. All right, Joe, I'm going to go to you first because I know that you personally have plenty to say about this. He called the 9/11 hijackers warriors. Now he's saying the vice president should be dead. He was fired from ABC, and as of most recently, I think he still has a job on HBO.
I thought Bill Maher was pumping gas. I didn't realize that he still had a show. I mean, Bill Maher is on television somewhere. Listen, the guy clearly hasn't had enough attention. I don't know how he was treated as a child. I don't know what his problem is, but this is actually the way that it came down was Arianna Huffington had a lot of people commenting on her website that they wish that Vice President Dick Cheney had been killed, had been blown up in that assassination attempt. Bill Maher was coming out against her for pulling those comments off of her website. If it's a free speech issue, you, Julie, Kirsten, you both know that I believe in the Constitution Constitution and the free speech. But Bill Maher is a guy with no talent, with barely a career left. I had no idea that he had a program on, and now he's just trying to get headlines again, and here we are talking about it.
Before we go to Kirsten, I want to ask you then, how do you defend Ann Coulter and her comments that she made about John Edwards?
I don't defend her because I think that her comments were stupid. It was an insult. It was a derogatory term for a gay man, if we can explain what it is. And it was stupid. The guy's married. He's got children, and he's clearly not gay. Even if he were, he doesn't deserve to be called that. The bottom line is she is an expert. She's a pundit and a political commentator who's got a career. Bill Maher is trying to get where she is. She shouldn't have said it. It was stupid, but she's going to sell more books.
All right, so Ann Coulter got a heck of a lot of coverage this week. Bill Maher, I hadn't really heard of it until today, to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't know about it.
Me either.
So, Kirsten, are we getting fair and balanced reporting on these two that have said terrible things?
Well, I heard about it, but the thing is that it's not, the difference between Ann Coulter and Bill Maher is that Bill Maher is an entertainer with a television show on HBO. Ann Coulter is a best-selling conservative author and a leading conservative. She made it the speech at a conservative gathering. It was one of the biggest conservative gatherings of the year. Last year, she made a speech there, and she called Muslims ragheads. This year, she came and she used a gay slur to describe a Democratic presidential candidate. So I think that the difference is that she is very, very aligned with the Republicans and the conservative movement, and she made it at a conservative venue, you know, this gathering. Bill Maher is just an entertainer.
Do you argue that Bill Maher is aligned with the Democrats then? The way
he is a self-identified He's a self-identified Democrat, but he's not aligned with the Democratic Party. And he's not.
Yeah, but Bill Maher clearly had an audience that was on his side, Kirsten. You heard them all cheering and laughing.
But he didn't make this speech at a Democratic event. If he'd made this speech at a Democratic event, then that would be different. He's just an entertainer on TV who identifies himself as a Democrat. It's not like.
But he knew that they would react and back him up on it. He knew that clearly.
And what?
He knew clearly that that audience would react the way they did, and they would back him up on what he was saying. That's why he kept on doing it.
But it doesn't matter. He has a TV show.
Well, you're saying that there's a difference. There's no difference. It's the same forum.
I don't agree with the things that he says. I don't agree with a lot of things that he says. But you know who does?
Right.
Ann Coulter, who goes on his show all the time.
All right, guys. We have run out of time, but thank you, Patrick Powers, Joe Pagliarulo, Kirsten Powers. And, of course, tune in because Ann Coulter will tell her side of the story anyway. She'll be on Hannity's America tonight only on Fox, so be sure to tune into that. Stephen Colbert, who regularly honors himself on his late-night show, gets a new honor. And who is honoring him this time? The answer's next.
Every time you try to put your necklace on, it's a hassle. That's because you have to get those two tiny little clasps to hook together. And if you got long nails, forget it. You actually need someone to do it for you. But now, putting on your jewelry just got a lot easier. Because now, there's Clever Clasp, the magnetic jewelry clasp that attaches to any necklace. Then, just bring them together and they click and lock. Simply attach a Clever Clasp to each end of your jewelry and that's it. Bring them together and your jewelry's on, even behind your back when you can't see what you're doing. Watch, just get them close, and your jewelry's on.
Clever Clasp is available in silver or gold to complement all your jewelry.
Plus, the super strength magnets are guaranteed to grip and never slip. So even your heaviest necklaces are perfectly secure. And no more hassling to get your bracelets on either. With Clever Clasp, it's a snap, perfect for anyone who has trouble seeing or difficulty reaching back to hook their necklace. Even with long nails, Clever Clasp is a snap. Plus, our deluxe Clever Clasp has a built-in locking device to keep all your jewelry safe and secure. Just bring them together and your jewelry is on. So stop struggling with your jewelry or relying on someone else to help. Call now and get a set of 4 gold Clever Clasps,
a $30 value for only $14.99. As an added bonus, you'll also receive our 3-inch extender chain. It's perfect for adding extra length to your necklaces or just to make your jewelry a little more comfortable around your neck. But wait, call right now and we'll double the offer.
And also give you 4 silver Clever Clasps and a 3-inch silver extender absolutely free. That's right, you get 8 Clever Clasps, 4 gold and 4 silver, plus 2 extender chains, an incredible $60 value for just $14.99. But you have to call now.
To order your Clever Clasp, call 1-800-598-5642. That's 1-800-598-5642. Don't delay. Call now at 1-800-598-5642.
Life's full of surprises.
That's why no one is more focused on getting your car back to normal than your farmer's agent.
It's wonderful.
Farmers Auto Insurance. Get you back where you belong.
To find a farmer's agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS.
When something really fits, you can feel it, like the fit you get with C-Bond denture adhesive. It's the only wafer that has a gasket effect that locks dentures in place. Only C-Bond gives you all-over coverage, all-over hold in a wafer. No mess, no ooze.
When your dentures really fit, you can feel it.
Now, lock dentures in place with C-Bond, the adhesive wafer with the gasket fit. C-Bond.
And a quick programming note, that woman right there, Ann Coulter, she'll be making her appearance on Hannity and Combs. That is tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern here, Monday night. You'll have to catch it. Now, finally, Stephen Colbert getting a laugh from some of his own. The U.S. Comedy Arts Festival naming him Person of the Year. The funny man said his TV character is a mix between our own Fox News' Bill O'Reilly and sitcom character Archie Bunker. And he keeps me laughing every single night. Love him. That's it for this hour of The Big Story. I'm Julie Banderas. Up next, Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace. Have a great week.